Hi everyone, and welcome to this webinar dedicated to expat health insurance, hosted by Expat.com in partnership with HCS, an insurance broker specialized in travel and expatriate health insurance solution. I'm here today with Edouard.
Hi, hello everyone.
HCS CEO, and Leslie Lusamba.
Hi, good afternoon.
Account manager who answers expat questions on a daily basis. So let's start. Edouard, let's begin with a very simple question. Why should I subscribe to an expatriate health insurance?
Well, no one is protected from injury or illness. In any case, and regardless of where you live, health will always be a very important concern. So everyone should pay attention to that. And if I may give you just a few examples, for instance, let's take Southeast Asia. The price of a standard hospital room will amount to around $250 per day. An MRI will cost more than $1,000. A hospitalization of 4 days for a broken leg will cost more than $10,000. Also, in case of a very important motorbike accident with multiple fractures, the amount can reach even more than $150,000. So these are real examples of cases that we had to handle. And we are only talking about Southeast Asia here. But in other areas of the world, such as in the US, for instance, the amount may be multiplied by more than 3. So this could be very important amounts. And so, of course, it is much better to pay an insurance premium of, let's say, $1,000 per year, rather than having to pay out-of-pocket expenses in case of a big accident of $30,000 or $50,000. Some people will consider that having a travel health insurance plan is sufficient, or they will decide to use the benefits from their credit cards. But it is very important to understand that these plans are very efficient, are mostly efficient in case of accident and in the short run. But if we are talking about expatriation, coverage may not be sufficient. Usually, what we do is that we advise people to take an expatriate insurance plan when they leave from their home country for more than 1 year. And in this way, they will have a much broader and comprehensive benefits.
Okay, I understand. So how can I choose an insurance that suits me?
Well, of course, you have to evaluate your needs, but there is no one-way approach to that, as this can mean different things to different people. So your needs may vary according to some personal factors, such as, for instance, your age, your country of expatriation, your family composition. Are you expatriating alone or with your spouse or with your children? And also according to the type of service that you want to receive. For instance, do you want to have access to a broad network of hospitals or doctors? Do you want to have a cashless service for routine medical expenses? So these are the types of question you have to answer to. You can also determine whether you prefer to have a combined plan with packaged benefits, or whether you prefer to have a tailor-made plan with a customized benefits. A very important point also is whether you prefer to have a full coverage or not. So here we have to make a distinction between inpatient plans and inpatient plus outpatient plans. So inpatient means that you are covered in case of hospitalization only, whereas outpatient plans concern routine medical expenses such as doctor's fees, prescribed medication, MRI, and eventually also optic and dental. If you are going in a country where the price of health is not too high, then our inpatient plans only, so hospitalization only, could be considered as sufficient. However, if you are going in a country where cost of health is higher, if you are moving with your children, then a full coverage, including outpatient, may be better. Last but not least, of course, your insurance plan needs to match with your budget. So this is a very important plan. So it is not an easy task to find, to understand and to navigate between all the various solutions which are offered by many insurance companies. So my advice is that before choosing a plan, try to find and discuss with an insurance broker, because he's a professional. He understands the market. He knows all the different plans, and he will help you to find the solution which suits best your personal criteria. And also, if you contact a broker in order to receive a quote, or in order just to have some advice, this will be a good occasion to test his reactivity in case you decide to work with him in the future.
Okay, Leslie, we have mainly discussed about health insurance so far, but are there any other benefits to complete my coverage?
Yes, of course. So being insured for health-related problems is definitely a good thing. That's something you're seeking. But expatriate can also improve their coverage by adding valuable benefits. And right now, I'm thinking of 3 of them. So first of all, the assistance repatriation. What does it mean? Basically, it's an option that enables to organize your medical evacuation in case of a serious illness or accident, or the repatriation of your body in case of death. So in order to ease your understanding of it, let's consider you're an expat in a foreign country that has limited medical infrastructure, and your current state of health requires a transfer. So you cannot get the appropriate care locally. So thanks to this assistance cover option, if you have to get a transfer, the insurer will actually pay for your transport and organize your medical evacuation. So that could be near the city where you live, or a country that is close to your country of expatriation. And if the insurer believes it's necessary, they can even take you back to your own country to get the treatment. Okay, so they book the flights, tickets, and everything. The second way to improve your coverage would be to add the civil liability option, definitely. So it's an option that covers bodily injury and or property damage that is caused unintentionally. I insist on that. It doesn't have to be on purpose, otherwise it's skipped. But it's done mainly to the third parties. So the benefit will generally never applies to any housing damage or motorized vehicles. You need to get a suitable insurance for that. Again, I will take a real life circumstance. So let's imagine you're riding a bike, and as you want to place yourself on the right-hand side of the road, you smash accidentally the wing mirror of a brand Mercedes car. And the worst thing is that the owner of the car actually has watched the full scene and is really unhappy with it. So what you can do under this situation is to use your civil liability option to be entitled to get the damages caused fully refunded. Okay, so you don't have to spend it from your home pocket. And the very last benefit I'm thinking of is the life insurance. So it's important because no one is immune against any hazard of life or misfortunes such as death or disability. And by adding this option, what you do really is you can provide for your relative with a financial compensation, and in the event of death and incapacity of the policyholder, your family will be covered. So depending on where you relocate, you should really consider these extra benefits that are provided, because they can bring an added value to your health cover and your insurance plan in general, especially if you go to countries where unfortunately the local structure are insufficient and your state of health could be jeopardized. So that's interesting. Or if causing a damage to someone or to property could seriously hurt your finances, you know.
Okay, well, we talked about benefits. Let's talk about budget now.
Yeah.
Have you got any tips to lower my premium?
Yes, it's important because money is often the main drive as regard choosing the appropriate expat plan. And I guess all expatriates have the same concern, because they want to choose a good and affordable plan, but also a plan that will fit their allocated budget for insurance. So I think Edouard already mentioned it. The premium rates might differ according to from a company to another. So it's essential to do a benchmark prior to choosing one single insurance. The premium can also differ according to the geographic zone of expatriation. So, for instance, in Western countries, I'm thinking North America, they tend to have higher premiums than the rest of the world. So it's important to appraise your need in terms of zone of coverage. Some insurers propose an extension to your home country that is already included in the package, or you can seek for a worldwide coverage excluding a specific country. So that will reduce your premium. Hopefully, there's also many alternatives, and I'm thinking of the use of deductibles and co-insurance as a means to reduce your insurance premium. So what it is, a deductible will be a fixed amount of expenses that you must pay before the insurer starts reimbursing you. So usually it's an agreed amount that is payable by the insured. For example, if you select a $2,000 deductible on your plan and your first medical bill at hospital is $2,000, you will have to pay $200 out of pocket prior the insurer start reimburse the $1,800 remaining. That's the way it works. And for co-insurance, it's slightly different in the sense that it's a percentage of expenses not reimbursed by the insured. So that could be 10%, 20%, and it's payable by the insured. So the co-insurance apply on each medical expenses that you have. So generally, there's a maximum out-of-pocket amount, which limits the expenses you should bear on your own.
Okay, are there any must-know elements I should pay attention to prior to subscription?
Well, yes, of course. Well, the table of benefits in order to see what is covered. But this will not be sufficient, as you need to check whether there are any limitations to the plan, such as exclusions, any qualifying time or waiting period. This means that when you take an insurance for the first time, some benefits may not be available immediately, and you may have to wait a few months. Also, the existence of any deductible, as Leslie has just explained. But please take time to read carefully the list of exclusions, because each insurance contract has exclusions. And if you take health insurance plans, usually you have some common lists of exclusions, but some items may also vary from one plan to the other. So, for instance, are motorbike accidents without a helmet covered? Are all sports covered, or do you have exclusions regarding some dangerous sports? What about scuba diving and etc.? Premium increase. This is important. You have to be aware that each year the insurance company will increase your premium by applying to your annual premium a certain percentage, which will be determined according to the medical inflation in a given geographical area, and also according to the total amount of claims on your plan. These amounts, these increases may vary a lot from one insurer to another. And for instance, a few years ago, one of our competitors increased the premiums by more than 30% 2 years in a row. So yes, this is enormous. So a good thing could be to check what were previous years' increases in order to avoid any problem. You can check also payment options, so the method of payment, the frequency, and the existence of any related fee. So some competitors apply additional fees when you don't pay your premium one shot annually, if you pay it by different installments, so for instance on a quarterly or monthly basis. Finally, I think that general review is important. It is always good to listen to other people's experience, to other individuals' experience regarding a specific plan or a specific insurance company. So this could be done by way of word of mouth or through internet reviews. You have maybe one advice: don't pay too much credit to one single bad experience, because this could be due to very specific circumstances which may not be generalized.
Okay, now that I know everything I need to know before to subscribe, how do I sign up?
Well, the enrollment process is often straightforward. It takes a couple of days, and it's mostly done at distance. So it's a good point, definitely, especially if you're in a rush to get an insurance plan. However, there is a mandatory medical questionnaire, as it is subject to the insurer's approval. Okay, so what you usually have to do is to reveal any pre-existing condition known at the moment of subscription. So the underwriters, or in other words, the medical advisor and the insurer, will review it. And consequently, there could be several different outcomes resulting from their decision. So I'm thinking of 4 possible response that they give you. The first one will be the acceptation of your file under normal condition, just as you expected. The second one, especially if you mention a particular pre-existing condition, or if there is anything, a loading, which is an extra amount above your premium that you will have to pay. The third thing could be an exclusion to a particular pre-existing condition, but the rest will be okay. And last but not least, there could be a refusal of your subscription. So it's quite unlikely, but what I like to say is that people should be aware that even if there's a case of refusal, this could be linked to strict rules for a given insurer, and most expatriates should keep seeking alternative and other insurers in the market. Okay, so soon after this step, most insurers will charge you for payment of the plan. So it depends on the frequency and the method of payment, but what they will definitely get is the first installment. And then they will send you your contract, which is the particular condition, insurance certificate, membership card if you need, and the general condition. So by subscribing to an insurance plan, what I like to add is that you engage yourself in the long run, since the plan are renewed with tacit agreement. So the insurer will notify you about the new premium rates for the coming year, and it's often the most suitable moment to make a comparison or to see what is in the market if you want to switch your existing plan.
Okay. Edouard, ACS is a French broker company.
Yes.
Why should I choose a French plan?
Well, French plans usually, by way of law, are much more protective of the insured than other international plans. I can give you 3 examples according to which French plans will be more protective. First example, under a French plan, your premium may not be increased more than the premium of any other insured under the same plan, even if your medical consumption is much higher. So each individual on the single plan will have exactly the same level of increase and whatever their level of medical consumption. Secondly, an insurance company may not terminate nor cancel your insurance plan as long as you are paying your premiums, of course, and even in case you have a huge medical consumption. So by way of law, it is not possible to cancel your plan, even in case of a high medical consumption. Third example, this is a matter of presentation. In French plans, usually what is covered is presented in a very general and simple way. So for instance, we will say that hospitalization is covered, and then we will list all the corresponding exclusions. So as long as something is not excluded, it will be covered. Whereas in other international plans, very often they will list in a very detailed way what is covered. So instead of saying only hospitalization, they will detail what type of accidents and what type of diseases are covered. So an element will be covered only if it is listed. So this second way of presenting things is very clever because it may give the impression that coverage is much broader in this type of plans because the what is covered part will be much broader, whereas in French types plans, it will be the exclusions part which will be broader. But don't be fooled by this because this is only an impression, and usually it is the other way around, and coverage is usually broader with a general coverage and a few exclusions rather than listing only what is covered. As long as we are concerned, as far as we are concerned, we work mainly with big international companies such as Allianz, who everybody knows, and MGN, which is the biggest French entity in terms of health insurance, and the second one in Europe. Usually our plans with these companies are subject to French law, but even in cases where the plans are not subject to French law, we always apply the above listed principles. And we do this because we believe that this is how an insurance is supposed to work, because at the end of the day, the goal is to protect the insured, of course.
Okay, now let's be practical. Let's say I've got an accident. How do I get reimbursed?
Yes, so prior to mention the claim procedure, I'd like to highlight the fact that some insurers impose a medical network of doctors and hospitals because they build a strong relationship with specific facilities in order to ease the claim process. So here I'm referring to the in and out network. So within the in network, you can basically check the table of benefits of a given plan to see the fees that will be reimbursed. And when you consult within the out networks, that means you choose your particular doctor. So that's one thing. You will have a clear indication of the claiming system by reading the condition terms for a given insurance plan. Okay. On overall, so if you go to a medical consultation and you pay for it, you should keep the receipt and all paid invoices, as well as any relevant document, and send them either by email or by post to the third-party administrators, so TPA. What it is basically, the TPA is the claim administrator, which is a platform of assistance which operates in several languages and which is available all the time. So the refund should normally occur within the next few days via your preferred currencies. Alternatively, to avoid the delay of reimbursement, and also because it could be hard to make the both and meet when you pay upfront, what many insurers do now is that they offer a cashless service or a direct billing, where you should, it's very practical. You can make a phone call to the platform of assistance prior to an hospital admission, or eventually present your insurance card at the hospital desk, and the TPA will do the follow-up, so you don't have to spend anything.
Okay, thanks. That was very interesting. I now know pretty much everything about health insurance. Is there any other tips you would like to share with us?
Yes, I've got one in mind, and I will definitely address to the audience. The main advice I could say is definitely to contact us as an insurance broker. For real, speaking to an agent offers a better comprehension of the plan. Asking questions before signing up, it's always worth it. There's no naive or silly question. It's worth mentioning anything in order to waive any doubt that you have if you're interested to buy an insurance plan.
Thank you. Before moving on to the Q&A session, Edouard, please tell us a bit more about HCS.
Well, yes. So HCS is a French broker company, French insurance broker company, which is specialized in health insurance for travelers and expatriates. We are in this. We have more than 30 years of experience in this business. We manage more than 80,000 lives each year. And basically what we do is that we create our own insurance solutions according to the needs that we observe throughout the world. Then we distribute these insurance solutions either through the internet or via local brokers which are located all over the world. And then we manage these insurance solutions. So this means that we are in charge of payment of claims. We are in charge of client support. We are in charge of collect of premiums. So this means that we have quite a large role throughout the process.
Okay, well, let me check. I think we received quite a lot of questions during the presentation. Let's use a few ones. Here we go. Give me just a couple of minutes. So what is the age limit for subscription?
Well, the age limit for subscription will definitely depend for a given insurance and the terms condition. But what we usually observe is that there's an age limit that is based at around 60 to 65 years old. Okay. So that's usually the age limit. But again, we offer many different insurance. There's many providers in the market, so you can find other.
And what about the kids?
The kids, they can definitely be added to a plan. So you have to understand that a plan should be subscribed by an adult. So there should be at least one policyholder, and the kid can come as beneficiaries of the plan. Okay.
Can I combine my plan with, your plan with my employer's one?
It's totally possible if, let's admit, your employer already provides you an insurance, but you believe that you want to get a top-up plan or something supplementary. You can, it's possible. Then you can decide, as Edouard was saying, whether you want to do outpatient and inpatient, or inpatient only, as it is a supplement.
But if you decide to use both plans, your employer's plans plus our plan, of course, when you at the time of a claim, you need to tell us, because then we will reimburse as a top-up to what has been reimbursed by the employer, because of course, unfortunately, it won't be possible to get reimbursed twice for the same amount. So.
Okay, let's move to another question. How can the payments be made? Is it an annual or monthly subscription?
Usually, the insurer will offer you different frequency of payment. By that we mean either monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. So you need to check what you want, what's your preferred method, but you just be aware of the system of fees that could be applicable.
Okay.
Yes, because once again, some companies apply additional payments on the semi-annually, quarterly, and a monthly payment. So this can change the total amount of premium at the end of the year.
Okay. Is it possible to get English-speaking doctors on these plans?
Very good. So an English-speaking doctors, I would say, depends on the country you're expatriating to, obviously, but I mentioned the in-network. I don't know if you remember on the discussion. So usually they offer English-speaking doctors.
Okay.
To check with the TPA.
Yes, it depends it can be different with each plant. But for instance, on our plans, in our plans, you may choose the hospital you want. So you can decide to go in a hospital where there will be an English doctor. So if it is a rather international country, you should find easily a hospital with English doctors. And here in our offices, we also have many English speakers in our medical team.
Okay, another question. What is the difference between the lifetime and non-lifetime plan?
Okay, so the lifetime and non-lifetime plan are based on age, basically, that's the factor. So a non-lifetime plan will usually be a plan that has a maximum age limit. That means, for instance, once you reach 74 years old, the plan will automatically terminate. While with a lifetime plan, the benefit will last indefinitely. So in terms of benefit, I would say that they're more or less the same, but the lifetime plans tends to be higher in terms of premium because the elderly could be considered as a risk.
And of course, the question when you choose between a lifetime and a non-lifetime plan is whether you intend to expatriate for a given period of time or indefinitely. And of course, if you are expatriating for all lifelong, it's better to go directly for a lifetime plan because once you reach the limit, you won't have to change of plan. But once you reach the age limit, you won't have to change of plan, and so you won't be subject to a new medical questionnaire.
Okay, next question. That one is very practical. Do you cover motorbike accidents?
So motorbike accidents are generally covered, but I will just refer to what Edouard said earlier on as regard the conditions. So you need to read to be sure of what it is exactly covered and the detail of it.
Yes, and it also can change from the category of benefits. For instance, motorbike accidents could be covered for health benefits, but not for assistance benefits or civil liability. So this is something you really need to check. And as I said, please read carefully the list of exclusions because sometimes motorbike accidents are generally covered, but there could be an exclusion, for instance, in case of accidents without a helmet. So you have to be really careful about what is covered and what is excluded exactly in each plan.
Okay, another very practical question. Can I pay my premium in local currency?
Well, in local currency, that depends on where you are, but usually the insurer, what it does is that it offers already the currencies where it's payable to pay. So the most common ones will be in euro, USD, pound sterling. That's the most recurrent ones that we see.
And sometimes also there are specific plans because in some countries you have to be insured via a local insurance company. So when this is the case, the law usually explains that you are obliged to pay in the local currency.
Okay, another question a lot of people may have. Will I pay the same premium if I take an insurance plan directly via the insurance company or through an insurance broker?
Well, first you have two kinds of insurance brokers. You have the insurance brokers which only sell the insurance plan, and you also have what we call master brokers.
Okay.
And master brokers usually they create their own insurance plans, as we do, and so you also have the insurance company. Usually prices are supposed to be exactly the same if you buy your plan through the local broker, through the master broker, or through the insurance company. The brokers are usually paid by way of commissions on the given premium, and the difference is just that if there are three of them, they will have to share the amount of commission, so the final price is supposed to be exactly the same. So it's maybe better to go through a master broker or a local broker because the contact will be much better with them than with a huge insurance company.
Okay, we'll take one final question, which is, in my opinion, important. How do you explain the difference of premiums between different insurers?
Well, it can depend of various criteria. It can depend of the content of the plan. It can depend if you have wider benefits, of course, with a much higher limits. So the price will be higher, and it will also depend of the amount of claims that there have been on a given plan. And if one insurance company has a good network with agreements with each hospital, they will be able to negotiate lower costs with hospitals, and so at the end of the year they will manage to have lower premiums.
Well, thank you very much for all your replies to my questions.
Welcome.
Thanks everyone for attending this webinar. I hope you learned a lot of things regarding health insurance today. If you have any other question, please do not hesitate to ask your questions and to our satisfaction form we will send you in a few minutes. We hope to see you again in a while. Bye everyone.
Bye bye.
Have a good time.
Thank you very much.